The observation deck of the Kralthex battle carrier hummed with the excited chatter of young warriors. Cubs barely past their first molting. They pressed their scaled faces against the reinforced viewport, their golden eyes fixed on the arena below where two figures circled each other with predatory grace. Commander Vexcor stood behind them, his battle-scarred hide a testament to decades of warfare. He watched the cubs with bemused tolerance as they witnessed something few of their generation had ever seen, a human in single combat against a Talon warrior. "Look at her speed," one cub chittered, his tail twitching with excitement. "The Talon will tear her apart," another declared confidently. "Humans are weak." "Everyone knows this," Vexcor said nothing. He had learned long ago not to underestimate the species that had somehow clawed their way from a death world to the stars. In the arena below, Aria moved like water given form. She was unremarkable by human standards. Average height, lean build, dark hair tied back in a practical braid. But the way she moved made Vexcor's combat instincts flare with recognition. This was no mere soldier. This was a predator who had mastered the art of killing. Her opponent, a Talon named Kreshva, was everything the Galactic Council had once feared. 3 meters of corded muscle, 4 arms ending in razor claws, a jaw that could crush durasteel. The Talons had been the apex warriors of the galaxy for 10,000 years, until humanity arrived. Kreshva lunged, all 4 arms striking in a pattern that should have been impossible to counter. Aria wasn't there. She had already moved, her body reading the attack before it fully formed. Her combat knife, a primitive thing by galactic standards, opened a thin red line across Kreshva's primary shoulder. The Talon roared, more in surprise than pain. "She cut him," a cub gasped. "Lucky strike," another dismissed, but there was uncertainty in his voice now. The battle intensified. Kreshva fought with the technique refined over millennia of warfare. Aria fought with something else, something the cubs couldn't quite understand. She absorbed damage that should have ended the fight, rolling with impacts that would have shattered bones. When she couldn't avoid a strike, she turned it, redirected it, made it work for her. "Why doesn't she stay down?" one of the smaller cubs whispered, watching Aria take a glancing blow that sent her spinning across the arena floor. She was up again before Kreshva could follow through, blood running from her temple, her smile sharp and terrible. "Humans don't know when they're beaten," Vexcor finally spoke, his voice carrying the weight of experience. "It's not stupidity. It's something in their nature, something that made them the dominant species on a planet that spent 4 billion years trying to kill them." The cubs fell silent, processing this. In the arena, the tide had turned. Aria wasn't just defending anymore. She was hunting. Every movement Kreshva made, she countered. Every attack he launched, she used against him. The Talon warrior, for all his strength and training, was being systematically dismantled by an opponent half his size. "She's reading his neural patterns," Vexcor explained, though he wasn't sure the cubs would understand. "Humans are persistence hunters. They don't have our strength or the Talon's speed, but their pattern recognition is unmatched in the galaxy. She's mapped every possible move he can make." Kreshva made his final mistake, a feint that had won him 100 duels. Aria had been waiting for it. She was inside his guard before his secondary arms could compensate, her knife finding the nerve cluster beneath his primary shoulder blade. The Talon warrior froze, paralyzed by the precise strike. Aria stepped back, lowering her weapon. The fight was over. The cubs erupted into confused chatter. They had just watched the impossible, a human defeating a Talon in single combat. One of the smallest cubs, bolder than his siblings, turned to Vexcor with wide, confused eyes. "Commander, why is she Talon wearing human skin?" The question silenced the others. They all turned to their elder, seeking understanding. Vexcor's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "She's not Talon, young one. She's something the galaxy hadn't seen before humans arrived, something we didn't have words for." "But she fights like a Talon," the cub insisted. "Better than a Talon. She has their instincts, their skill, their—" "No," Vexcor interrupted gently. "Talons are warriors by evolution. They were born to hunt, to fight, to dominate. Humans." He gestured toward Aria, who was now helping the paralyzed Kreshva to his feet with surprising gentleness. "Humans are prey that refuse to die. They're the species that looked at every predator on their world and said, 'Not today.'" He watched understanding slowly dawn in the cub's eyes. "Talons are born warriors," he continued. Humans become warriors. They take every advantage evolution denied them and forge it through will alone. That woman down there has trained her soft body to move like a Talon. She's taught her slow reflexes to predict what her eyes can't catch. She's turned weakness into a weapon. The bold cub watched Aria exit the arena, Kresheva walking beside her, the two warriors sharing words in mutual respect. "Is that why we allied with them?" the cub asked quietly. "Because they're dangerous?" "No, young one." Vexacor's voice carried the weight of the 3 wars he'd fought alongside humanity. "We allied with them because anything that refuses to be prey, anything that transforms itself from victim to victor through pure determination, that's something you want on your side when the universe shows its teeth." Below, Aria disappeared into the corridor, just another human in a galaxy full of physically superior species. But the cubs would remember this day. They would remember the question one of them had asked: "Why is she Talon wearing human skin?" And they would carry the answer with them. She wasn't. She was something far more terrifying. She was human. And that meant she had decided her limitations were merely suggestions. In the arena, maintenance drones cleaned the blood from the floor, while the scoreboard flashed the results. Another human victory. Another reminder that the meek had inherited more than just the earth. They had inherited the stars.